What's going on this week, Matthew?
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. I'm curious how it is in a locker room these days. We're less than 24 hours away from official cutdown day across the league. We've already seen a bunch of reported names out the door on your roster. It's happening all over the league. What's it like in a locker room right now when a lot of people are walking around, I imagine not you, but a lot of people are walking around on eggshells worried about their job?
Yeah, it's really a tough time. And I've always said, for me, this is my least favorite part of playing in the NFL. Guys commit themselves, commit their families, commit everything they are to doing a job. And it's unfortunate that it becomes a numbers game at the end of the day. I think for us, we always think about the relationships that we build with guys. I mean, we spend more time with each other in training and throughout the season and over the course of our careers than we do with our actual families in a lot of cases. So it's a tough day. I don't know. You never really get callous to it. So personally, I just look forward to fast forwarding through this and moving on.
Looking back on your previous preseasons, training camps, you've been with the team since 2008. How different is this preseason in terms of having the starters all together in preseason games, the number of joint practices you have? How different is it compared to your early years with the Patriots, 2008 to 2011, let's say?
Yeah, these camps are much, much different. And the reality is I think we've learned a lot more about what player safety and health look like and what's best for our players. And I think collectively we've tried to make some adjustments to make sure that we're addressing that and keeping it at the forefront. My first 3 years in the NFL, we had double days, and preseason looked very different. We had 4 preseason games. We still did joint practices, but preseason was much, much different. And my dad always jokes it was much harder then, but that's just a part of the evolution of the NFL. I think the one thing that's constant about this league over the 100 years plus that it's been going is change. There's always going to be change. Some people will say it's for the better. Some people will say it's for the worse. That's up to folks to debate. But, I think the physicality of the camp was a little bit different. The length of the camp was a little bit different. And certainly, the obvious, the number of preseason games. So that the way you go about preparing your football team, I'm sure, is different as a coach. I mean, Coach Belichick can speak to that better than anyone. But it certainly looks a lot different now than it did then.
Matthew, back in July, you said that the buy-in with this team had been tremendous, but that it only matters how it translates. How's it translated so far, and do you still feel that way about the buy-in?
Yeah, I think our guys have done a great job of just keeping their heads down and working hard. So I do still feel like the buy-in has been great. As far as translation, I mean, we're getting ready to find out. The regular season is really what tells the tale, and we'll see how it goes. And we understand, look, this is a production business. Lots of people are willing to work hard. Lots of people are willing to sacrifice. But at the end of the day, it's about those who produce. And it's like that for players, coaches, whoever is involved in the process. So we'll see how it goes. We're optimistic about where we are and what we're going to do moving forward. But all that's cheap talk until we go out and play well.
Matthew, we just saw the return of Mookie Betts this weekend at Fenway Park. Very warm ovation for him coming back against the Red Sox. Have you allowed yourself to look ahead? And if you haven't, why don't you allow yourself to look ahead to Tom Brady's return on September 10th and what that atmosphere is going to be like?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the Red Sox fans for how they welcomed back Mookie. I thought that was very appropriate. But look, I thought about this. I'd be lying to you if I said I hadn't. I really hope that our fans will welcome Tom back the way that they should, as not only the best player in franchise history, but the best player in the history of our league, and celebrate all the things that he's accomplished here for Boston sports, the legacy he left here on and off the football field. And I think people around here are aware of that. I think they appreciate it as much now as they ever have, and I certainly think our fans are going to welcome him back the way he should be. So it's going to be an exciting time, not just for the fans. It's going to be an exciting time for us as players to celebrate a person who did so much for so many. So it's going to be great.
Going back to this current team, I was excited, as we all are, for Brady's return. But this current team, once you get past this kind of tough 24 hours finalizing the Patriots roster, assuming there'll be captains named in the week after, how important, as somebody who's had that role, how important of a role do the captains play in facilitating the relationship between the rest of the locker room and the coaching staff?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's huge. I think, the captains have kind of always been the go-between between the locker room and the coaches. I think relaying information in both directions has been a big part of that role as a leader for the team. And I'll say this, there will be guys who aren't named captains that will be asked to do a lot of things in terms of leadership, and the role they have as leaders will be very important. So leadership within an organization is obviously a lifeline. If you do it well, it can be very uplifting. If you do it poorly, it can be destructive. So we've been fortunate around here to have leaders who have really done a great job of just relaying information, setting the example, leading from the front, and really, putting their best foot forward in terms of who we want to be on and off the football field here. And I'm sure this team will choose the right man to continue to do that this season.
Matthew, the way you just sort of described that is how a lot of players and other coaches have described you. I mean, you're the longest tenured athlete, I think, in all of Boston right now, longer than Brad Marchand. You've been around for a lot of different sort of coaching regimes. Obviously, Bill's been here the whole time. He's spoken about you as the greatest special teams player of all time. Do you ever sort of feel like you're, I don't know, more than just a player on this team? Because you get talked about that way.
Well, yeah, I'm humbled that people that think I've done a good job in that role, especially my teammates. I'm just thankful for the experience that I've had here, every ounce of it. It feels like someone else's life that I've been living. I feel so blessed to sometimes have to pinch myself. And, I understand at this age and this juncture of my career, it's about more than what I'm doing on the football field. Obviously, that's first and foremost. But I think I do have a responsibility to share wisdom, build relationships, bring people together, and encourage them to be the best version of themselves. And that's something that I've really enjoyed doing for the majority of my career. And I'm thankful to be in a position where I'm still on a team and still doing that in some capacity. So, look, I appreciate Bill for keeping me around all these years. I appreciate the guys for continuing to have faith in me to put their best interest at the forefront. So it's been an extreme honor.
All right, he is Matthew Slater, Patriots captain, joining us each and every week here on Jones and Mego with Arcand on WEEI. Matthew, we appreciate the time here on a Patriots Monday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Always appreciate you having me.
All right, Matthew Slater, as all our guests, joins us on the Harbor One Hotline.